Hi, I'm Nicola Cairncross.
Hi, hello, hey, hi.
I'm going to talk to you about success. Yes.
Hi, it's Nicola here, and I'm coming to you from my balcony, and you might be able to hear a bit of rumbling in the background. That's the lorry that's just arrived to drop off a load of stone. But out the front it was all buzzing chainsaws and people picking olives, so I had to pick one of the lesser of two evils. The final thing that has happened this morning is the power cut's gone off. I've just recorded my podcast with Judith, Own It, and she was having problems with her internet going on and off intermittently and the power. And as soon as we'd finished recording and she'd actually managed to stay on long enough for us to do that, my power went off, which means my internet's gone off, which means I can't upload this to Phoebe for the Vzine just yet, so hopefully it'll come back on later. I've actually got data roaming on my phone, so I'm looking up to see whether it's a scheduled power cut or an unscheduled one, because the scheduled ones, they usually say what time you can expect it to come back on again. It's all very civilised around here. What else has been happening this week? We got together last week and we recorded 10 episodes of Write Club the podcast, which is my sort of hobby thing, if you like. I've joined a creative writing group, as you probably know, and we've started a new podcast. So if you are a writer or a reader, you will definitely enjoy this, because we talk about books, words, the English language, and we're interviewing guest authors as well. So we've just gone live on Audio Boom for a soft launch this week, and we're hoping to go live on iTunes early next week as well. If you go over to audioboom.com, you will be able to do a search for Write Club the podcast. That's WRITE Club the podcast, and you should find us. The writeclubthepodcast.com domain name is currently pointing at our Facebook page, so you can go over there and like us and get notified of any future episodes, and also join our private Facebook group where we'll be sharing the resources from each podcast week and discussing the books that we talk about in each episode. So that's my new hobby all sorted out. What else has happened this week? It's still quite mild here, as you can see. I mean, I'm not, I'm sitting on the balcony, I've got a t-shirt and a thin cardigan on, and it's mild as anything. In the house, however, it's usually a little bit cooler, so I am lighting my wood-burning stove at night, which gives a lovely cosy effect and is very efficient indeed. Looking forward to going home in 3 weeks' time, and had a really busy weekend for Cyber Monday and Black Friday, whatever it was. I was so busy, in fact, I didn't even get an offer out myself, but people found their way to me and were signing up for Clicks and Leads Academy, and also my new mastermind level that I'm going to be launching at my workshop this year. Just 2 places left at the Clicks and Leads workshop in Gatwick in between Christmas and New Year. Come and join us for one or both of those days, and you can find more information at nicolacairncross.com/Carla-workshop, CALA-workshop, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. Hi, and this week I want to talk to you about joining the dots and only being able to do that in retrospect. And the thing that's made me think about that is I've been watching a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk recently, because I find him totally inspiring and I really love the way he says it like it is. There's no compromise in the advice he dishes out. And the other thing is that my daughter Phoebe has just completed 2 days working with Pete Jenkins. She's been doing some of the social media for his 2-day Gamification Europe conference, and she actually then met up with someone who might be able to help her get her dream job, or one of the things she thinks she'd like to do right now. And she wouldn't have done that, she wouldn't have been there if she hadn't agreed to do something for me and Pete, which was to create a branding video for him. And that's a direct result. Her being at this conference and getting to know this person was a direct result of her doing something for nothing initially and not knowing where it might lead. And Steve Jobs said very famously, you can only connect the dots in retrospect, and that's certainly true in that circumstance. So if you're in a situation where you want to do something but you haven't got any way of knowing how you're going to attract clients or how you're going to make money from it or how you're going to turn it into your life's work, then a lot of people just don't get started. And this is, as a coach, one of my biggest challenges, and it's also one of my biggest joys when people actually do take action, because it's only by actually doing the thing that you want to do that you can find out whether you're any good at it, you can find out whether you need more teaching or tuition about it, and it opens doors to you. The fact that you're actually doing the thing. So these people who are going to now go and look at Phoebe's website, they're going to see that she spent the last 2 years building up a following. I think it's a year actually. She's built a following from 3,000 views to over 36,000 views, and she's doubled the number of subscribers. And she wouldn't have done that if she hadn't just trusted to the process and actually taken the action herself of making video after video after video. So it's like me with wanting to become a writer. The only way to become a writer is to start writing. A lot of people would go off and do writing courses, and probably some should argue that I should go and do some creative writing courses, but instead of which I'm just starting to write, and I'm writing on my blog at swaggerandsoul.com, and I'm giving pieces in to my Write Club ladies who are much more qualified than I am, and so they're giving me critiques, about how I can improve my stories. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm ever going to write the sci-fi novel that I've got planned out. I don't know if I'm ever going to get published. I don't know if I'm going to self-publish. I don't know where it's leading, but it's a creative pursuit that I enjoy, and so I'm going to just do it regardless. And if anything does happen, if I do manage to write a novel and it actually gets published and then it actually sells, I will only be able to look back in retrospect and say, well, I did that then, and I did that then, and I did that then, and that's led me to this place now. So I know I do go on about this theme quite a lot in my little videos to you. That's because it's the one single thing that I hear when people come to me that they don't really get. The Be Everywhere online course that I teach people is a real exercise in just stepping out of your comfort zone and taking action regardless, not knowing where it's going to lead you. In Kate Cocker's case, within 12 weeks we've discovered that she's had a really incredible amount of success with it, but it's led her to re-examine where she wants to go on to earn her money going forward, because it's going to be a lot harder in the industry that she loves to make a decent living. So what we've suggested is that she pivots her knowledge and her skills into a different marketplace entirely, while still continuing to do the things she loves when that comes along, and that will give her the financial freedom to be able to pick and choose the gigs in the industry she absolutely loves. So it's not a question of one thing or another. It's not like if Phoebe goes to work for a creative digital marketing agency, she will never be able to make another video again. It's about just doing what you can with what you've got in the place you are right now, and trusting that any action at all, I always think of it as like throwing pebbles in a pond. Any action you take will create ripples in that pond. You don't know where the ripples will end up. Some of them will come back to you. You just got to keep tossing those pebbles in the pond, and every bit of action you take to move towards your future and do something positive, especially if you're feeling bad, that is the really, really, really important time. If you're feeling bad and if you're feeling despondent and you're feeling discouraged and you're feeling depressed, make yourself do something that creates a bit of content, because that bit of content you can then throw out into the world like a pebble in a pond, and it might not have any impact now, but in 10 years time you might be able to look back and say, that was one of the dots that I joined up and I didn't know that I was doing it at the time. So I hope this made sense in retrospect and I'm sure Phoebe will do a brilliant job of editing out any of my old waffle and the various cars going up and down the road. There's been quite a few of those today. So anyway, I hope that helped, and I'd love to hear what you think about it. If you're struggling with taking action because you don't believe that it will make any difference, or you don't know what difference it will make, and you don't know where it will lead you, then do use the comments above or the comments below to let me know, and I might be able to help. You never know. Just share your thoughts with me. Okay, so what's on the blog and the podcast this week? Last week, actually, I got quite passionate last week about cherishing your creativity. I got very excited because I'd been doing some creative stuff writing, and I found it stimulated me to want to do lots of other things. So it made my enjoyment of editing my podcast greater. It made me want to take more pictures. It made me enjoy everything a lot better. So I got quite passionate about that one. And let's just find it again because it's gone. That's episode 44 of the Vzine, and you can find that on nicolacairncross.com/blog as always, nicolacairncross.com/Vzine as well. And on the podcast last week, Own It number 158, we were talking about doing improving work, because I started to read a book that Judith had recommended and some of my Write Club ladies really enjoyed, 43221 by Paul Auster, and I think it came number 2 in the Booker Prize. Didn't like it at all. Couldn't force myself to carry on. Deeply dull when there are so many other exciting books to read. So I was saying I don't feel the need to carry on doing things that I don't enjoy anymore. I'm 56 years old, and I think I've earned the right to stop if something is dull or I'm not enjoying it, because I have pushed through on improving work. That's the name of the episode, doing improving work. So I have pushed through on many occasions doing things I didn't want to do from school onwards, and I think I've earned the right now to not to need the feeling of achievement of pushing through something I'm not enjoying. So I'm very much on a quest to find things to enjoy nowadays, to put my life back together again and find great hobbies and things that make me happy, and I will be sticking to that. So I talk about that, we talk about that, Judith and I, in episode 158 of the podcast. Really hope you're enjoying all the content. Love to hear your comments, and on the blog I think the link to the comments is above. On YouTube and Facebook the links are below, so really would love to hear your feedback and hear what you'd like me to talk more about. Speak to you soon. Have a lovely week. Bye.